your confidence has obviously got higher as you've improved as a rider, and do you feel more accepted and as if you're on more of a level playing field out there as a rider?
Yes, I do, big time. I think a lot of the Americans, I realise, they respect you. When they see you working hard and you're out there every day, they'll give you the opportunities. And I actually asked a trainer recently, I said, why do you want to ride me? He's been riding me on a lot of his horses. We took a trip to Thistle Downs for one mare that I'd already finished. I'd been placed on in 2 stake races. And we took her up there and I asked him that question. And he said, the reason why I want you to ride my horses is because he said, I can see that you love the game, the passion that you have, I can see it in you, how much you enjoy it. He said, it's there in your eyes, I can tell by the way you talk about how racing is, that you're passionate about the sport that you're doing. And he said, and that's why I want you to ride my horses for me. He said, it's enjoyable to have someone like you to be able to get off and talk to me and talk sense to me, and I can understand what you're going to relate to me about my horse and how the race has gone. And he said, and how we talk about the race beforehand, how you analyse the race. And he said, just having somebody that's got that much passion for the same sport that I love makes it that more enjoyable for me to have somebody riding my horses like you.
Have you been accepted as much on the dirt as you have on the turf?
Actually, it's kind of the other way. I haven't ridden I haven't ridden as many turf races as I thought I would. I only just won my first turf race up at Indiana Grand a couple of weeks ago. I just haven't really picked up the same stock on the turf as I have done with the dirt. I've actually picked up, I think I picked the dirt up quite easily. The tracks do change. They're not the same at every track you go to. Sometimes they're wet, sometimes they're dry. Then when they're dry or wet, you need to know where's the best ground, where you're going to save ground, where you need to come out wide, where the speed's holding for the day, whether the speed is holding but they're not finishing. You have to change and adapt to every race course you go and ride at.
How old are you now?
28.
28. And timings wise, if I take you back before you'd been to America and I said, Sophie, I want you to go up that strip of ground there and cover me 5 furlongs in a minute, how close would you have been to doing it back then? And now, having worked under the clock all the time or against the clock, how good would you be? The difference in you're bound to be better now than you were back then, but I'm just want everybody to know, understand, your understanding of timing, what you're doing. And I know when you're on that bowling green going round and you see the marker and you've got it, you get into that rhythm.
Yeah. It's one thing I found about working with the clock. It's not so much just knowing your times. It's about knowing the speed that your horse is able to travel at. And not all the horses are able to go 13. You can hit a 13 on one that's got a huge, big, long striding horse and realise you almost have to think in your mind, go 15 seconds or 14 seconds to try and hit that 13 because you've got to slow them down. Or a horse that's got a very short stride, you need to feel like you're going a little bit quicker to try and hit that 13. I think back then when I was riding here and I was working for Jamie Osborne, he did used to work with the clock. Every time he said to me, Sophie, I want you to go, say, a minute and 5 furlongs, I would always be a second either side. If he said to me, right, Sophie, I want you to go 5 furlongs, just do a nice piece of work and finish up real strong, but I want you to be finishing real strong at the end, I'd probably hit the time spot on. He said, how do you do it? Every time I tell you a time, you think too much about it, but as soon as I say, right, this is what I want you to do, but he said, I'll tell you in a different way of how I want you to finish, or finish stronger, or just keep them well on the bridle, or I want you to get them off the bridle. He said, you'll hit the time, every time I tell you, you'll get the right times. So I was kind of, before I actually went to America, I was already working with Jamie doing the times. But he did just say, it's amazing how I tell you a time and you're not so sure.
Yeah.
But I could do it in my own way of working a horse. But now when I'm in America, I do it day in, day out. Every morning I'm working horses. I literally, if I'm on a horse, I'm breezing. I never get on a horse anymore to gallop them unless I really have to get to know a horse, and a trainer will ask me to come and just sit on them just so you get to know them that bit more. And some trainers I've noticed in America like you working fast. They like seeing 47, 48. Another trainer might only want you hitting 49s and 50s going for the half. Some trainers like to see a minute finish. Some of them like to see 102. It just depends on what kind of horses you're riding and what level they're at in their careers.
But you then have to go out and produce that time. There's no point if he wants you to go 48 and you go 50, you've ruined the work.
Yeah.
You know, people will say, oh, that's 2 seconds. Yeah, but 2 seconds is 10 lengths. You know,
yeah,
you can't...
exactly. It's a lot of difference when you're working. I think the one time's hard is when they say, I want you to finish in like 49 and change. So you're trying to hit that between 49 and 50. It's just knowing that what kind of horse you're on, and the best thing is that when you go out on the horse, you get to back them up, so you'll jog back around the track the wrong way, turn around at like the quarter pole, and turn around and you'll jog and gallop back. So by the time you get to the 5 furlongs or the 4 furlong marker, you'll already have a feel of your horse and know what sort of stride he has, so when you set off, you're picking up that, you know, if you need to go a little bit faster or a little bit slower, you kind of know what you've got. And working on the same tracks every day, I think, is a massive advantage, because you'll know sometimes if the track in the morning is riding that bit faster, or if the track is riding deep and slow, you know that you're going to struggle to probably hit a 48, 49, and you might be able to ease off your horse a bit and say, right, let's just go 50. I know he wanted 49, but I'm going to have to really drive you to get 49.
Have you ridden doubles and trebles?
The doubles actually came at Turfway and Belterra and Indiana. And I had my first treble at Belterra and finished second on the 4th horse to beat ahead. I've been very close to some trebles. I've had a couple of close finishes and on the same day. So, and that's the other key. It's just like you know, in any career, it's getting on the best horses that you know you're putting yourself in the best chances. And one thing we do in America as well is when you have winners, you always have to take donuts to the barn. So you always drop donuts off, or some of them like the McDonald's. So they'll want a breakfast.
The donuts, so they come in these huge boxes, don't they, that you can take in a bit of everything in there.
It depends how big the barn is. But one thing I've learned is to find a good donut store.
Your mum, she's been having a bit of correspondence with us, and she couldn't be prouder at the moment for yourself and also James. I mean, the pair of you having a great run, and she's been a big part of that from the word go.
She has been. Mum's been James and I's inspiration from the very beginning. I think she's done a lot for us both. She's done a lot for our careers, and our mum was our tutor. She taught us both how to ride. We never really took riding lessons. She taught us how to do everything. She taught us how to ride races. Even though Mum always trained, Mum did ride a couple of amateur races herself, which you have to take your hat off to her riding. I think she rode at Chepstow over hurdles on her old horse Meditator as her first ride over fences as an amateur. So she has that background as well to know where we're coming from.
And she trained the Winter Derby winner?
She did, with Zane.
Yeah.
Which was great. And then we had our good horse Bailini, which she let James and I ride throughout her whole career, which I think she probably would have been a group winning mare if James and I hadn't been riding all the time and practicing.
Your dad, I've not bumped into your dad, I've bumped into your mum at the races. Am I likely to bump into him?
At some point you will do. You will do. He's been there, he comes racing a few times, and he's there when James is riding some of the bigger races, and he'll come to the meetings now. He'll come and watch, and he's really behind my career now too.
What are you going to do? You're going to take over America?
You know what I'd love to do? I'd love to come back here and ride at the Shergar Cup at some point, I guess. That would be fun to do.
Could you see yourself coming back here and trying to make a go of it again, or are you just on the riding the wave in America at the moment?
I'm just on that wave in America. To be honest, I don't think I could see me coming back here to ride, because I'll be honest, the money that I'm earning in America is something that I've never even been able to touch back here. And the opportunities are far greater than they are here. I want to be trying to put myself up into where Rosie Napravnik was. And when I first went there and was able to ride with her,
Rosie. You want to
or
be
past Rosie,
Rosie.
we'll go past Rosie, but riding with her and seeing where she's come from and how she dealt with racing herself and her riding career, I think Rosie actually was one of my idols in racing to look up to see how much she'd done from a young age to where she is now, to now being a mum. It was pretty, I think even she was a big inspiration, seeing that she could do it. And then when I was there, actually seeing her mentality of how she would go about the barns in the morning, how she would present herself at the races, how she took on being in the big stage and being in the top brand of elite jockeys riding there. She helped me a lot, and seeing somebody in that sort of stage in their life and their career, no matter how good she was doing, she'd still take time out to help somebody. She still had that grounding of seeing this young English girl come over, trying to make a career for herself, and she would offer any advice that she could.
She might have seen something special in you.
She might have done. She didn't mind the competition, which was fine. Because I was actually, when she announced that her pregnancy, I was gutted, because I was like, oh man, I really wanted to ride against somebody, to ride against a girl jockey that accomplished so much at such a high level, which is something that I think has never been really achieved apart from Hayley Turner. I think even on Hayley had done so well for England, but when you look at the American jockeys and females that ride there, their level of where they get given the opportunities is so much higher, that they're really thought of. There is no discrimination as much between them riding at a high level.